Okay, so, I'm going to end up resin my hair if I keep doing that. What I can tell you about this so far. Ugh! All right, so I'm making a lot of mistakes. Hopefully they end up all right in the end. Let me turn you around and you'll see. Oh, no, I just took a picture. Hang on. All right, so I made a couple of mistakes here, and this wants to float. Wish I could hold it down and let it dry. But, yeah, I don't know what to do. All right, so, mistakes. I tried to do double that little cup right there. I tried to do one of A and one of B. So, we found out that this thing is like 1.5 times this thing. So, in the middle of mixing that up, I did not have enough room. So, I had to use this, which I had stir sticks and things in. I had to dump it real quick and put it in there. I hope that's all right. I hope I didn't hurt anything. Of course, it's not clear, so it was hard to see what I was doing when I was mixing, whether or not it was mixing up clear, whether or not it was, well, anyways, a pain in the neck. So right now, I'm trying to hold this down with a stick. I don't think that's going to help, and I don't want to have a stick sticking out of it or a hole there. And, of course, you can see my trees are not all the way covered, which I don't know if they're going to be able to be all the way covered. My idea with this was to make almost like a suspended snow globe kind of scene. You know, snow globe that's been shook up and the snow was falling and then it's suspended in time that way. That was sort of my thought. Don't know how it's going. I didn't put any more of the big glitter in because, as you can probably see, some of those pieces are really, really big and kind of get in the way. Is my house going crooked? I think my house is going crooked. My house may end up being not on the ground and, you know, just sort of floating in space there. I don't know. I should have gone ahead and glued it down. I got impatient. I didn't want to wait for another thing to have to dry with the Mod Podge or anything. So instead, I had the great idea that, oh, the wood will just be heavy enough to stay down. Nope. So if you're going to try to attempt this, if you haven't done it already and done it successfully, don't think your pieces are going to be staying down in without being anchored. Apparently, that's not going to work. So I don't know because of all the bubbles. I'm hoping that it's not going to be quite that. Like I said, I did it in a cup, so I may have gotten too much glitter, whatever. There is a lot of bubbles left in it, and I'm actually watching them pop as I speak, some of them coming up, and it's almost like watching Sprite right after you pour it, you know, the fizz coming up and popping. So, not that I drink soda because I don't, but, anyways, I'm going to have to do, obviously, another thick layer of this to get more of it in there, but I want to let this one dry, or at least get mostly dry, so that those bubbles can continue to pop. I'm worried about doing a heat gun on it. I may try it. The reason I'm worried about it is I'm not sure what it's going to do with the bits of tree still sticking out. But I think I might try it, just hit it with the heat gun a little bit to help with those bubbles, and then just let it sit and go and see what happens. I hope we don't end up with our house exposed and floating on top. I mean, if it comes up a little bit, I guess that's okay, but I really don't want it to be just floating on top of the resin. So, yeah, if you decide to recreate this, remember that your pieces do float. I'm glad that I anchored in those snowflakes with the Mod Podge because they would be just floating everywhere as well. So, not that that's a bad thing. I'm thinking about doing some between this layer and the next layer of those little snowflakes, but I didn't do it in here because I figured they would either go to the bottom and then there'd be too much, or they would come to the top and yeah, I wasn't sure about that. I kind of want them in the middle, you know, a few of them in the middle, like I said, to make it more 3D and like a snow globe that's been shook up. At this point, I'm not sure what part of this process we are on, but I'm here to let you know that my experiment has gone a little bit awry. Sorry, somebody stuck stuff everywhere. So, here is... I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but in person, it is really, see, you can see it better in the camera. In person, this was really hard a little bit to see the house and stuff. The tree is not fully covered. I've not decided at this point whether or not it is financially sound to keep going with it. It would take at least, this has already been 3 layers of resin, and it is yay thick. I mean, you got to factor in the wood too, but you know, it's pretty thick. And part of me wants to just see what it looks like all finished, you know. The other part of me is like, it's just a waste and resin's too expensive. So I'm not sure that I would say leaving, see if I can get it up here where you can really see it. I'm not sure if leaving the tree, you know, exposed is a good idea, because, you know, then it, I don't know, it doesn't look right. Sorry, I'm trying to get where you can see it and not see in this camera. You can see the house and things so much better than you can in person. The glitter obscures it. It's dark. Man, I hate to give up on it, but I'm not sure, guys. Why don't you give me your comments and your opinions down below, what you think I ought to do. I've thought about possibly trying to cut some of the tree down so that, you know, it could take one more layer and not be a real thick layer, and see if I can't just see what it looks like. That way, if I can get the tree covered, but then it makes the trees are pretty flat looking. I think I'm going to set this one aside at the for the moment, and have you guys comment and tell me what do you think? Do you think it's worth? I mean, we have used more than half the resin now between the cup and the few things that I've done, which means that before I do any more cups, I'll probably have to buy resin. You know, you got to buy resin. You can't do this and not buy resin. But we do have this one still that, you know, again, it still doesn't look as good right now. It needs to have a layer of resin. Now, it's going to be a lot thinner layer of resin, and that may help. And I still want to do some of the snowflakes and things in the resin. So it'll be similar to this, just not as thick. What I should have done is, I thought about getting those little, like fairy lights and put like around the inside. You know, and then you have to worry about the batteries going dead. All right. So, one of the things I know that I did wrong on this was I used that microfine glitter. And even though I tried not to use like a lot of it in the layers, it did seem to give, instead of being more clear, the microfine glitter, even though it's, you know, it's supposed to be that, well, I mean, you can see it's white. That it's not nice. I mean, it's clear, but, you know, it's got that, it definitely has that white, it's kind of obscuring. It's more of a blizzard than a, you know, a gentle snowstorm, which is what I was going for. So on this one, I'm not going to use that microfine glitter. It's all of that was to tell you this. So we're going to put some in here and we're going to see what happens. I got to mix it up. You know, it's the 1-to-1, but I will go ahead and do that for you. I'm sure you've seen it. You've seen it all kinds of times, but and that's what we're here for. All right, so this is the part A, and part A is a lot thicker than part B. As you can see, it is quite thick. You would have, in my mind, I mean, I thought that the hardener portion would be the thicker portion, but apparently I was wrong. You know what? I don't think I'm going to go quite all the way full. I think I go about 3/4 of the way full, and if it's not enough, we'll make some more, because, you know, you can always make more. You can't, like, make less. And by the time it goes down, it's going to be even more than... But, wow, we are, guys... I'm not sure. We may be able to make 1 tumbler. But I don't know. All right, so part B is runnier. So we got to make sure when we're pouring part B that we are really paying attention, or we will end up with a bunch. See, it comes out really fast compared. Let me watch that cup fill up, if you can see it. I really like this resin. It's not like I have a lot to compare it to. It's only the second kind I used, and the first kind was that cheap stuff from Wish. I think it looks about even. All right. So I don't have a lot to compare it to, but I did do some research. I Googled, and, you know, and it gave me, it was something like the top 5 or 10 resins. And this one was pretty far up there. So the Amazing Clear Cast. I'm very hopeful that before too long I can buy, you know, the gallon size, you know, gallon of B, gallon of A. I think it's a gallon. I'm really hopeful that I can do that. I know that that'll last me some time, because I definitely am not working on the kind of volume that a lot of you are. Is this the thicker one or the thinner one? Well, I would usually say something very colorful right now, because I just spilled almost that entire cup. It had a little more of B than A. It's a dang good thing. Sorry. Trying to stay YouTube friendly. But this is real TV, guys. This is real live. You know, I'm doing this in real time. I'm not... And I'm a klutz, and you know my fingers are numb. You know, I've got neuropathy. I can grab a pan out of the oven and not feel it, you know, in an emergency. I get yelled at all the time for that. Because just because I can't feel it as well doesn't mean I'm not getting injured. Well, the problem is with numb fingers, you drop everything. And there went my tablecloth, so guess what? I knew I needed a new one anyways, but now I need one even sooner than I had planned. That is never not going to be sticky. All right, we're going to hope that we have enough of this stuff to set up at this point. That we're not going to not have enough of the two to set up properly. Because there's no way to measure now. And I would have put this in after I put in part A. But since I am a klutz. Tell me, have you ever dumped your resin? That's an expensive boo-boo. Thank God it was a little cup like this and not, you know, one of you guys' gallon jugs. Can you imagine if it just fell over and it was, you know, the part B that's real runny, and the next thing you know, most of it's on your floor? A, what a mess that would be to clean up. B, what an expense it would be when you're talking $100 or more. Well, half of that. And we're talking, you know, like, I don't know that you can buy one part and not the other. So what do you do when that happens? Cry and cuss and throw a tantrum, right? Well, I'm trying to keep it all PG, guys, but man, the words wanted to, maybe I'll have to play it back and make sure that I did keep it PG, because it was right there on the tip of my tongue, boy. Let's hope it didn't go any farther than that. Well, if not, that's what we have that editing stuff for. Not the greatest editor, but I'm doing the best that I can. Boy, that upsets me. All right, well, let's hope that we... let's hope we set up properly. If not, then this experiment really will be a mess. So we stir and we stir, and I'm sure I'm going to cut some of this out, but I'll probably let you see that I made a mess, because you know, that way if you do it sometime, you'll say, well, at least, you know, I'm not the only one. That crazy lady on that subscription boxes and more, she spilled hers too. I mean, certainly I'm not the only klutz in the world. I hope I'm not the only klutz in the world. All right, so instead of using any of the microfine, I'm going to use, and this is all sticky too, guys, because, you know, my gloves. I'm going to use only a little bit of this because, again, I don't want it to do the same thing. And I barely have it open. So you can say a little bit. Look at you shaking that. It really is a little bit because I barely had it open. I just want to give it a little sparkle and shine. And I know I didn't stir it up long enough. I figured I had to stir up the glitter anyways. Then I'm going to pour some of this in, but I'm going to deliberately place the other, you know, the bigger glitter snowflakes, and then put some more over top. That's my plan. Or maybe I should put it in now. Maybe we'll do that. Ooh, talk about sticky, because I have that all over my gloves now. Everything's going to be so sticky. I am such a klutz. Alright, let's pour some of these out. Oh, not too many. Oh, I'm going to stick it. Yeah. Oh, this is my last pair of gloves. Shoot. Alright, well, I'm going to take this very sticky one off, and I'm going to, because I haven't, you know, I'm not like going to be touching the resin. There, you can sit in that puddle, because it doesn't matter, you're already really sticky. This hand, I think I'm going to use just like a dab of resin to kind of hold the thing in place, and I'm not going to stick my fingers in it. I'm going to try not to. These really stick together, and then you end up with like 5 or 6 of them and like a really thick snowflake. So you kind of just got to, you know, work with it just a little bit to make sure that it's not got a bunch of them, because you don't want to waste them. I'm trying to use some of the silver ones and some of the white ones. I'm just trying to put them a little bit strategically, and then I was going to put some more, because I'd like them to be, I'd like some of them to be where I want them. I mean, the rest of them are just going to go where they like, but as they move around in the resin. That's my thought anyways, my plan. And I'm thinking if I just give it a dab with, you know, the resin with the stick, hopefully it'll sort of go where I want it and stay. But they'll probably just float to the top like everything else that I did. That I, you know, but I'm learning. I am learning, definitely, for sure, what resin does and what it doesn't do. What it doesn't do is what I want it to do, and that's what it doesn't do. Nope. Silver one, I think. It seems like there's more silver ones in here than there are white ones, and it could be that I used the white ones at some point in another project, and yes, I got it on me. And I tried not to, but... Alright. I just wanted to scatter a few kind of where I wanted them, and here's one of those that are like... My hands are so sticky, they want to just stay together and... Well, it's going to be 2 because I can't get them apart because my hands are so sticky. All right, well, back in a very, very sticky glove. Oh, I need new gloves. I used all of them. That was only a little box of 8. So, anyways. All right, what else did I want to do? Well, I'm going to do that first layer, like I said, of this thin, and then put some more snowflakes in that layer, and then go over top of it so that they're not laying on top, if I can keep them from laying on top. And I'm trying to just drizzle this really lightly, because I don't want to use too much of it. And like I said, I didn't want to have to use more, but I may have to make another batch just to even cover the bottom. There's no way I'm going to try again to fill one of these all the way full, unless, like I said, I've got the fairy lights or something. And the reason I didn't is A, I didn't have any of the fairy lights, and I would have had to go buy them, and B, I was like, yeah, but then when the fairy lights burn out, then, you know, if something goes wrong, then it's just ruined. I mean, you know, it's not like you can take them out of the resin once they're dried in there. It's kind of what I was thinking for that with the house. But honestly, because the resin is so thick and all of that, without the fairy lights, I'm not sure it's worth putting any more money into it. But, you know, not every experiment ends up a success. So, I mean, we just kind of have to look at it when we do something, when we're crafting, you know, that not every idea we have is going to be the right idea. And how we learn sometimes is by making mistakes and then correcting those in the next one. And that's what I'm trying to do here. You know, the first one turned out really well, and that was the cross, because it was very thin. Like I said, maybe a 1/16 of an inch deep, that well that I had to work with and had to put the resin in. So it's not like, you know, it was a lot safer bet there. You're not wasting as much resin if you do, if things go wrong. And so that's why I did that one first. But then it went so well that I got a little, you know, cocky, thinking, oh, well, this is great. This is going to be fine. I can do this. I can do a real thick one. I can, you know, put all this 3D stuff in. Part of the tree got smashed down from the weight of the resin, so it just looks like this flat thing. The other one's sticking out of the resin and needs more resin if I'm going to cover it and make it, you know, otherwise it's kind of weird, not integrated into the scene like I would like. But like I said, with that microfine glitter and stuff, I mean, it's like almost a whiteout blizzard. Well, I don't know, it looks all right from that angle, but when you stand it up and look straight on to it and there's not a light shining into it, you know, it's hard to see. I mean, you can see it obviously, but so, all right, well, I'm going to let those bubbles kind of come to the surface and pop. I'm finding that if I just am a little patient, I don't have a whole lot of bubbles. I mean, there's like one bubble that left a little divot in that, and if I'm doing the next layer, now this one does have a lot of bubbles, but I haven't let it set very long. So I need to get that to fill, tip it, and get it to go all the way to the edges so that when I do the next layer, which I got to do quickly because it's in the cup, so that there won't be these dips, you know, that'll be, you know, higher and lower, where the resin isn't filling and it isn't flat and level. Because, you know, my table's probably not real level because the floor isn't level. And that's the problem with resin is, you know, it's a liquid, so it's going to pool to the lowest point. And so you could end up with some thicker spots. And I do want to move this as it dries to something a little more level because I need to make more videos and this mess needs to go away. Problem is, it's covered in resin now. So I can't really, I'm going to have to take this off and we're going to have to do something because, yeah, because mess. When I was growing up, my brother used to call me Messy Missy. I hate the name Missy, by the way. Not anything against you if your name's Missy, but Missy was a helpless kid that, well, couldn't take care of herself. And so I don't like the name Missy, because I'm not Missy. I'm not helpless in that sense anymore. All right. I am going to get my heat gun. Something I haven't been doing. Wow, yep, that's definitely helping. Maybe if I would have done this on the other, maybe it would be more clear. Maybe I do have more micro bubbles than I realized. They got trapped in there. I mean, because other things did fine without having the heat gun, you know, I just took for granted that was going to also, but maybe the layers were too thick, and maybe micro bubbles are in there, even though they don't, it looks like, you know what, guys? There's a lot of micro bubbles in here. I think this is a lost cause. I think it's a total waste of adding any more resin to that. I didn't hit it with the heat gun, but you know what? The first layer, okay, this is 3 layers. I know the first layer dried clear, but it was thinner. And it seemed like the second layer did. I'm thinking a lot of the micro bubbles happened in the last layer. I could be wrong, but now that I look at it with, you know, my nose against it almost, there really is a lot of micro bubbles. So don't skip that step, even if you're pretty certain that you have really good resin and that the bubbles come out. Because look, this bracelet, I cannot see a bubble in this bracelet. Of course, it's orange, so maybe you just can't see it as well. Something I did do is I took some extra resin because of where I had to sand, and I put it on it and it dripped, and so now it's bumpy, and now if I sand it again, it'll be bumpy again, so. But not bubbly, bumpy. Bumpy because when I put resin over where it had turned white, it... I am not an expert. I barely have ever touched resin. So, anyways, let's use our tweezers and try to place a few more snowflakes that are kind of, well, they're probably going to sink in. Because I probably haven't given it enough time to set up. Ew, I'm sticking my arm in the resin. But what do? You gotta just go for it sometimes. Yep, see, that one's like 4 thick. No, it's at least 3. I thought it was 4. Right. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Okay, I think I'm going to put these back. And I think I'm going to do some of these little ones. So, and unless there's something major that needs, you know, another coat, we are not going to go with another coat after what's already mixed up, because, you know, prefer not to waste a bunch more resin if it doesn't look good or whatever. Let's hope it just looks good. Sorry, I had to concentrate to get a hold of that. It wants to get away from me. Again, when your fingers are numb, everything's more difficult than it ought to be. Makes you look really a lot clumsier than, well, I am clumsy. Let's just face it. I'm clumsy. And it doesn't matter if one of these snowflakes has one of its little legs missing, because remember, there's no 2 snowflakes that are exactly alike. So, I think it helps, you know, I think it looks good when some of them are just a little different. Put some in between some of these little legs of the big snowflake. I do kind of wish, I mean, I understand why they don't have different shades. So I wish that that the colors, okay, you've obviously had to run more than one batch. You could have gone with a little bit different shape on the different colors. So, you know, that's my opinion. But, I mean, they're really cute. They're really cute. Where do I want to put this last one? I think I'll stop with that one. Put it up there. Put the lid on that because, you know, I make a mess. I knock things over. I spill things. Wow, those are sticky. Well, hopefully this doesn't make me sick because it is all over me. I'm going to go with just a tiny bit more of the chunkier, I mean, it's not chunky glitter. It's like fine, but not microfine. Too much came out right there. The good news is it's still wet, so I can move it around just a little bit. So it's not all like, needs a little bit up here. We missed a spot, but there's still some on the lid and it's stuck. Well, really? You're that sticky that you're just not gonna, and glitter usually doesn't stick to anything but you, right? We're going to call that good. And then we are going to, well, heck, I'm already so stiff. No. Don't encourage people to get more resin on them than they have to, right? Even if you're sticky, you probably should not just go in barehanded. because, you know, there is things in here that are cancer-causing agents and all of that. And it's harsh on your skin, and I have very sensitive skin. Everything, as you know by my makeup videos, everything gives me the hives, including that mask that in that one makeup video that I had to redo the video like 4 times, and I used that mask, you know, 4 times in one setting, just to show you the mask. I ended up with a face, you know, breakout, hives in a face breakout, because I have very sensitive skin. But, you know, all for the videos. I am going to do a makeup video now that my cornea has healed, and show you guys the makeup. Not that I'm any kind of a makeup guru, but I'm going to show you what it looks like on me in a video. All right, guys, I will come back for this last part to show you the finished product. I mean, you've already seen the cross, which I am going to do a video next to give this away. I think it turned out really cute. I was going to put some greenery or whatever up here, and then I decided, you know, something, it would take away from the message and from the, I think the simple look, I think it's enough. If you get it and you decide you want to put some pine cones and greenery or some holly or poinsettias or whatever somewhere to dress it up, great. I think for right now, I like it how it is. And I will put a little, I think I might, you know, sign it on the back or something and give this away. So I wanted to make a video about that, but I wanted to show you, you know, this one did turn out well. This one did not. Let's hope this one does. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right? But I will be back briefly to show you how it does come out. Okay, well, here's the very end of our part 3. And I wanted to show you that this did turn out well. If I can get the glare off of it. Well, how can I turn it to get the glare off of it? Anyway, there you go. Hopefully you can see that.